Hi everyone and welcome back to Simply Strength. I hope you're all doing well. I've spent most of the day working and reading and just had a browse through Facebook. Honestly, I'm contemplating deleting it. An intellectual debate over the merits of Zuckerberg's juggernaut is not my intention in this video, but it's certainly worthy of discussion at another time. All I can see in my feed, beyond the advertisements and occasional noteworthy headline from the groups in my sphere of interest, are selfies of female friends and seemingly endless wedding pictures from people that I know. This is bearing in mind that I've met 99% of my Facebook friends in person and would never add them purely on the basis of appearance. I think a colour's in order, don't you? As I can't tolerate this much longer. Seeing people getting frog-marched to oblivion doesn't fill me with a great deal of satisfaction. That said, I do get some solace from the fact that many are doing it of their own volition. They know not what they do. I was moaning about this to a good friend of mine yesterday, and he said in a humorous tone that I don't want them to be happy, as if marriage were the pinnacle of human happiness and attainment. It pains me to say this, but I'm afraid we can't save them all. We can't wake them all up, and my friend is a good example of that. Indeed, as Morpheus said, some people are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to defend it. The topic of today's video is sexual transmutation, how to achieve it and make use of it in a practical sense. This was inspired by Niko Choski's video from a while back, where he undertook a no-fap experiment, as well as TruthoverEverything's Mike Tyson and Cus D'Amato video. My appreciation to these guys for their thought-provoking ideas and insight. A brief overview. My understanding of sexual transmutation is that it is the repurposing or transforming of sexual energy into another form of energy, the redirection of the powerful male sex drive into activities that benefit the self. For example, this could be your career, art, lifting at the gym, sporting endeavours, writing, setting up a business, musical pursuits, and innumerable others. We should all have at least one passion or vocation in life, and I've spoken before on this topic. Whatever your interest, sexual transmutation enables one to maximise their achievement and ambition through the use of energy and vigour that might otherwise be squandered in wasteful excursions. Napoleon Hill in his masterwork Think and Grow Rich devotes chapter 11 to the topic of sexual transmutation, but I found this to be particularly vague with regards to practical applications. You can get the PDF of this great book online, and I do advise that you read it for personal development ideas in general. Chapter 11 does not get mentioned too often in wider circles, and I do wonder why that is the case, but nonetheless it is a compelling analysis of the role of predominantly the male sex drive in harnessing great powers of imagination, willpower, creative thought and courage. I don't know about you guys, but I've found that I can get far more work done of a much higher quality when refraining from self-stimulation. The improved sense of awareness and vigour that I feel is extremely perceptible. It's been 2 or 3 days, less when I was in my late teens or early 20s. You find that pretty much everything turns you on. Of course, as Niko Choski mentioned in his video linked below, this can interfere with a number of thought processes and may put you at a disadvantage when talking with attractive women, and that you might give in to your biological urges and not truly apply red pill knowledge. However, if you can get past that, or better still, fap tactically in a healthy balance, you can make great use of the benefits. With moderation, you can put sexual transmutation to great effect. Indeed, by tactically releasing that sexual energy in balance, you can immunise yourself, as it were, to extremely attractive women. This, in tandem with red pill knowledge, enables you to enhance your own self-worth and see women for what they are, equal human beings that are peers, and it prevents you from putting them on a pedestal that they don't deserve. Practical application. When regularly fapping, say once or twice per day, pornography enters the equation, and it is very easy to become dependent on it. You almost have to wean yourself off it at first. Combining this with no fap can be extremely difficult, depending on your level of dependence on pornography. What you tend to find is that meeting attractive women in the street, seeing them in your Facebook feed, on Instagram, and so on, turns you on big time, and the need for porn is completely gone. This results in an innate awareness of just how much sexuality you are exposed to on a daily basis. Sexuality that is unrequited, making for a lot of sexual frustration and anxiety. If you can get over the initial few days, avoid the temptation to fap, and get to work on your to-do list. you are well on your way to optimizing your creative and vocational abilities. By putting porn to one side, you desensitize yourself to it. I've found in the past that the odd release, one every 5 to 7 days or so, produces the best results for me, but this is something that you need to experiment with. We are all different, and it will be up to you to find the correct strategy. If you're currently fapping twice or more per day every day, you're wasting energy and vitality in my opinion. In my own life, especially during my post-pubescent high school years, there were numerous occasions of sexual frustration and anxiety. However, there was also the genesis of an ability to transmute that energy into pursuits that served me. This one girl I had a crush on for about 5 years. She eventually came to know this and teased me relentlessly. I vaguely remember going into class this one time and she came up to me and said, "Can I give you a blowjob?" She had been put up to it by the cackling harpies in the class, but this caused massive sexual frustration, given my inexperience at the time, and my surprise at the remark. Experiences like this, especially given that women are the gatekeepers of sex, taught me to manage on my own, as it were, but also taught me to divert that energy into my music, learning the guitar, for example, as well as my academic work, reading, and so forth. These were my first embryonic experiences of sexual transmutation. I didn't know it at the time, but I take comfort in the fact that I put in the practice at that early stage. Later on, you have the things like pornography, Facebook feeds, and so on that bombard you and create sexual anxiety. I remember going to my first strip club in my early 20s, a big mistake in my opinion, and having a private dance with this beautiful blonde, my hands fixed firmly to my side. This was a big mistake because it only built sexual frustration. I went home and literally erupted myself all over the damn place. On the one hand, I needed that experience, but on the other, it was just teasing myself, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate. It's like putting a sweet near your mouth, salivating, and then withdrawing it. It's nothing more than self-torture in a sense, and Louis Marco has discussed this on several occasions. To reiterate my introduction, many simps and blue pillars follow fitness models, supermodels, and so forth on social media. Everyone has got attractive, selfie-obsessed female friends that post all the time. Many of these men like and comment on these pictures, providing an undeserved and unwarranted dopamine rush to these women purely by virtue of their looks, oftentimes looks that they obtain by genetics alone. Thus, these women gain an inflated sense of self-worth and their ego gets boosted to stratospheric heights by thirsty guys. Other MGTOW channels have expanded on this in great depth, and you can find these without much effort. They are invaluable for your red pill education. My point is, stop liking this shit if you continue to do so. And if the pages you like and comment on are not connected with you personally, then distance yourself from them. Just as the women get a dopamine rush from people liking their pictures and so forth, by over-abusing self-stimulation, you also become dependent on dopamine rushes. So, as I mentioned, find a balance and not do your best, do your utmost, not to get addicted to self-stimulation, and optimize it and redirect that energy into your pursuits. Thanks for listening as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys.